Isn't it shocking how much violence and hatred is coming from the left? I mean, isn't it supposed to be the party that they claim to be the party of empathy? And yet they're burning Teslas and shooting up dealerships and calling for the death of the president and me? I totally understand if somebody doesn't want to buy a product. Yeah, it's up to you. It's free country, but you don't have to burn it down.
Yes, and after they burn it down and drive all the Jews out, then they call you a Nazi. That's the part that makes me laugh, because they're funny. Have you seen this morbidly obese man in Texas crash somebody's four-wheel drive vehicle into a nice lady's Tesla vehicle in Texarkana, Texas? And this guy, the police arrested him. I think they must have brought a forklift. According to the Breitbart news agency, he called a lift car, but he meant forklift. He had to call. Wait a minute. That won't work. Can't call Uber, can't call Lyft, got to call forklift. He was arrested, and the local station down in Texas says that he's 5'2", 449 pounds. 440, that you can round 450. You put shoes on, you're 450 pounds at 5'2". That's not the healthiest physical configuration, I think. Yeah, but the guy, and who knows if it's his four-wheel drive vehicle or not. There he is with his orange jumpsuit on and in custody. Looks perfectly relaxed. An obese man was arrested after allegedly using his ATV, allegedly, it's right here on video, to deliberately ram into multiple parked Tesla vehicles in an unprovoked hit-and-run rampage in Texarkana, Texas. KTBS reports that it's difficult to say. It's Demarchian Marquise with a Z, Demarchian Marquise Cox, not words known in the English language or Western civilization, 33 years old, was taken into custody by the Texarkana Police Department, doing great work in Texarkana, after one of his alleged attacks was captured on video for the very Tesla. He intentionally, and it's because these Teslas have cameras in them. Apparently, I didn't know this until a couple of weeks ago, with the Democrats attacking everybody and violent criminals that they all are. But they all have cameras in them, and they all make video, like police dashboard cams. Or a lot of taxi cab drivers and Tesla drivers in Washington have cameras on their dashboards now, too, because of the patriarchy. And white guys, you can put these cameras very inexpensively on your dashboard in your car and videotape everything. You're welcome, honestly. Cars, electricity, cameras, food, space travel, instantaneous global communication. Heart surgery, you're welcome. Never mind. So they're captured on video by the very Tesla that he intentionally crashed into. The incident occurred while the electric vehicle's owner, who seemed to be a very nice lady, and she's an African-American, he's a black guy, and she's an African-American woman driving the fancy Tesla and everything. And the nice lady, whose name is Verita Karstafin, she has her Tesla, and she parked it, and this 500-pound black guy on a four-wheel drive, one of these things with like motorcycle handlebars and four big knobby wheels that you can ride through mud and stuff. And he's crashing into people's Teslas because, why, Michael? Because the Democratic Party inspired him to become an idiot, violent criminal and to risk his own morbidly obese life crashing into other people's Teslas on a four-wheel drive that I'm guessing might not be his.
It's hurting more of the innocent victims than it is the people that they're trying to hurt.
That's Verita Karstafin, And she seems honestly like a perfectly nice person, and she's minding her own business and working hard and got an expensive car, and she looks great. And then a 5'2", 449-pound guy with a ridiculous name is crashing into her vehicle.
Every day, every second that I have to get in my vehicle, I do worry. And I do worry if I'm going to be in it when they decide to hurt it.
Yeah, and I'm worried. She's worried every single day. And she's worried whether she's going to be attacked while she's in her car. And that's because the Democrat Party has turned millions of insane, violent people loose on the United States of America, including Demarcus Marquise Cox, 33 years old, and among his other stats, 449 pounds at 5'2". That's really all you need to know about him. Pretty remarkable times we are living in. There's war around the world. Europe, the Middle East didn't exist until Joe Biden came in. Over 200 Tesla takedown protests take place throughout U.S. on Global Day of Action against Elon Musk's role with Doge. Because that's the Department of Government Efficiency, I think the results are in. The Democratic Party does not support government efficiency. They will start a civil war to prevent anything resembling government efficiency. Very much against it. And Inside EVs is a publication on Al Gore's amazing internet. Peace be upon him. The headline is The Pragmatic and Moral Case to Sell Your Tesla. Well, the pragmatic part is the Democrats may kill you for driving it because of their mental illness. Just amazing. And Victoria Scott, writing in the publication online, when I tell strangers my job is to review cars for a living, the most common response is, what do you think of Tesla? Well, for over a decade, Tesla has been the strange and novel outsider that caught the attention of the non-automotive world where legacy automakers were staid and dull. Tesla was tech first and exciting. Its EVs set the bar during the 2010s for all other automakers, both in function and in screen first form, because that's the thing. As CEO and largest single shareholder, Elon Musk and his Doge project have moved forwards. I think she means forward, not forwards. And Doge, again, it's the Department of Government Efficiency, becoming a de facto fourth branch of the right-wing Trump administration. Well, no, that's completely false. You're wrong again, dim-witted woman. Sure. However, enthusiasm has cooled dramatically. Protests at Tesla dealerships, that means firebombing and shooting them up with rifles, have cropped up across America. Actually, they've been orchestrated and organized by more than a dozen national organizations that are being funded by big-time left-wing, that is to say, Democrat Party donors, the likes of which would include George Soros and his son Alex Soros, who is currently boinking Humma Wiener of the Wiener Empire. So secondary market values have cratered. Calls to trade in Teslas have mounted. Trade them in, but not for other Teslas. It's time for me to definitively answer all those strangers' questions about Tesla. I don't think they're a good buy. Well, that's because it's like driving a Jewish car in Nazi Germany, and you guys are the Nazis, just by the way. And I think there's a strong case to sell one if you own one right now. And then she goes on, the case against a new Tesla. These people are really, they are so close to being fascists that you ask them what a fascist is. It's a difficult word to define. And dictionaries have a difficult time defining, but this is it. And again, in Massachusetts, a guy who drove his Tesla to the Tesla protest at the Tesla high-speed charger, talks about how he's spit on constantly and has things thrown at his Tesla constantly. And he's a liberal who wanted to save the world. And now he's living in terror because the terrorist left, the most prolific mass murderers in the history of the world, are terrorizing him. Isn't that amazing? Yes, it is. Man, oh, man. I'm telling you. So we played Elon Musk a minute ago talking about the violence of the left directed at him and the murder threats on his life, the assassination threats on his life. President Trump was shot and winged at a Trump rally by a suicide attacker who was taken out, one shot, one killed by a U.S. Secret Service counter sniper in Butler, Pennsylvania. Let's not forget Congressman Steve Scalise being shot by a Bernie Sanders campaign volunteer and nearly assassinated on a baseball field in Alexandria, Virginia, where James Hodgkinson, the Bernie Sanders booster and supporter and campaign volunteer, wanted to murder the entire baseball field. Elon Musk was in Green Bay, Wisconsin over the weekend, and he's there because he's trying to help out with an election there taking place tomorrow in Wisconsin involving the Supreme Court, where they have 7 members of the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Right now, 4 of them, and they elect them. They're all elected. And 4 of them right now are left-wing, radical, Jew-hating liberals, presumably. I presume the Jew hate because they all do now, right? They all think the same thing about everything. So 4 members of the Supreme Court are liberals, and 3 are sane people. But one of the liberals has announced that she's leaving, maybe for a sex change operation or something. I'm not sure why she's leaving. But Elon Musk was in Wisconsin over the weekend, and one of the things he did that really upset the Democrats, and they tried to stop him in court because everything must be stopped in court. They tried to find an Obama appointee fascist or something to another liberal in Wisconsin to stop Elon Musk, who went to Green Bay, Wisconsin over the weekend and had a big rally, and everybody should because he's Elon Musk and he's amazing and all Democrats are maroons. We've got the Democrat leader of the House, too, Hakeem Jeffries, on this. But the left-wing radicals at The New Yorker. Why is Elon Musk trying to buy a Wisconsin Supreme Court seat? That's George Soros's job. Tuesday's election in the state of Wisconsin, as the only statewide race in the country before November, is a crucial test for the growing backlash against the Trump administration's agenda. Stop firebombing everything, you bunch of fascist Nazis. And one of the things he did, now there's a Republican there, Brad Schimmel. He's a Wisconsin Circuit Court judge, and he's running for the open seat on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. But Elon Musk flew to Wisconsin, and he held an event there, and great stuff. Now, they're very angry because Judge Schimmel, Brad Schimmel, actually attended the Trump inauguration in Washington, D.C., and that makes them very angry, right? But we've got more on this coming up because these guys now, and then they've got a radical left-wing extremist that they're planning on putting on the Supreme Court. And they say it's because they have to gerrymander the congressional districts in Wisconsin to steal the House of Representatives so they can destroy America, bankrupt us, and hand the world over to the jihadis and the real totalitarians. The left is here, ladies and gentlemen. They're not liberals. You know that the all-new third-generation Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifier has finally arrived, and the third generation builds on the incredible success of previous generations, and those earned thousands of five-star reviews on Al Gore's Amazing Internet, quickly became a bestseller. The new Thunderstorm uses 2 different technologies that studies have shown help to kill up to 99.9% of bacteria and viruses floating in the air that you might breathe. Also removes dust and pet dander and smoke and a whole lot more from the air that you breathe. helps get rid of any odor at the same time with no filters to have to buy and replace over and over again. You can hold one in your hand. They're only this big. The Thunderstorm will help get rid of any stinky smell, guaranteed. Litter box, trash can, cigarette smoke, dirty diapers, left-wing protesters are no match for the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. Right now, you can save $200 on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for a whole home protection. You can put one in your basement, your teenager's room, the bedroom, the family, any place you like to breathe clean, fresh air. All you have to do is go to EdenPureDeals.com. EdenPureDeals.com. Use the code CHRIS3, CHRIS and the number 3 to save $200 American on 3 thunderstorms. That's EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is CHRIS3. Yes, sir. Yeah, I've got more on this. The Supreme Court and 2 House races in Florida coming up. The Democrats are planning on stealing everything. Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at WashingtonTimes.com/Chris. Let's go to the telephones. Let us go to Lynn, calling from beautiful North Carolina. Lynn, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hello, Chris.
Hello, Lynn.
I'm a first-time caller.
Thank God you're here.
But I have been listening. I've been down here in North Carolina for 5 years, lived in Virginia for 10-plus years, and listened to you and the rest of the great group from WMAL the whole time.
Wonderful. Then you're a very well-informed person with an excellent sense of humor.
I was going to say at least the first part of that is so true because I'm amazed at your audience. Because I think they're brilliant, but the Dems think that they're brilliant also. But I'm a little bit confused, Chris.
Uh-huh.
Because when it comes to owning a Tesla, and then I'm going to sell my Tesla, and am I going to maybe put a scratch on it before I give it to them? Am I going to dox who I sell it to so people can go and harass them and damage the car after I've sold it to them? If they were so brilliant on this strategy, why are they not just destroying their cars and walking away?
Well, that's a fair question. They should firebomb their own cars and turn it into smoke and put it into the upper atmosphere to pollute the planet. Because now that's the politically correct thing to do if you're a lefty, right?
Exactly. So why are they not putting their money where their mouth is?
Well, as you know, Lynn, were it not for double standards, liberals would have no standards at all. And if it weren't for hypocrisy, honestly, they've got mental issues, Lynn. They've got a lot of mental issues. They don't know what gender they are anymore. Got a Supreme Court justice who's a woman that doesn't know what women are. And they should burn their own cars. Yeah, so in Wisconsin, the Democrats, they've got a scheme, they've got a plan. They want the state Supreme Court. They already have it, which is why the state's so gerrymandered now, just as Hakeem Jeffries had menacingly declared these people. Yes, but there's an American, Brad Schimmel. He's already a circuit court judge, and he's running for the open seat, one of 7 seats on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. But Brad Schimmel is the guy. Vote for Brad Schimmel. The communists will kill your children. Who was it? Who was the president? Michael Beschloss, right? Presidential historian who said Republicans won the midterms, they'd kill your children. Jail them or kill them. He was on MSDNC. Pretty amazing stuff. But let's get back to the Elon Musk in Wisconsin, who's out there. And one of the things he did is he put up a prize because he has a lot of money. He put up a prize of $1 million. And he gave away he's giving away, I'm not sure if he already gave it away, $1 million prizes to people in Wisconsin. And this has The Democrats very upset, too, and they tried to stop him in court because they're very angry all the time. And they're filled with hate. And that's why I have these signs say, I hate Elon Musk. New York Times very angry. Musk gives $1 million checks to voters amid Wisconsin court race. There's a court race, and Wisconsin appeals court won't stop Musk's $1 million payments to voters. Sure. After Attorney General sues. They have a Democrat Attorney General. Probably wears an armband. Wants to annex Poland, there. So Wisconsin Appellate Court denied the state Democratic Attorney General's request to stop billionaire Elon Musk from handing over $1 million checks to 2 voters at a rally planned for Sunday, just 2 days before a closely contested Supreme Court election. The denial Saturday by the Wisconsin Court of Appeals is the latest twist in Musk's deep involvement in the race, which has set a record for spending in a judicial election and has become a litmus test for the opening months of President Trump's presidency. Okay. All right, if that's what you say. Now, here's the thing. Millions and millions of dollars have come in from outside of Wisconsin. And for the Democrats, because they already have the 4-3 majority on the 7-person court, but they really want to keep this court because they say they're going to gerrymander the state and they're going to steal congressional seats. So the Waukesha County Judge Brad Schimmel is the sane person, and then the Democrats are behind a woman named Judge Susan Crawford. And she'd kill your children with ball-peen hammers and meat tenderizers and then cook them if they're very small in a microwave oven. This is the kind of stuff that everybody says now. This is politics, right? Isn't that amazing? Attorney General Josh Kaul, Democrat hack, filed the lawsuit. AP fails to mention that here. Filed the lawsuit Friday, arguing that Musk's offer violates the law. Really, he was giving away a free hat, violate the law, because Kaul on Saturday later appealed to the State Court of Appeals after the county court judge refused earlier in the day to hear the request for an emergency injunction to block the payments. So he's like, hey, participating in the election, 2 lucky people get $1 million each. It's not buying their votes. The Democrats are doing that. Amazing stuff. But Elon Musk was in Green Bay and had a big rally. For part of it, he wore a big cheese head, the cheese wedge, like the Swiss cheese triangle hat that Green Bay Packers fans wear and stuff, the cheese head hat. And the richest man in the world wore the cheese head wedge hat for a period of time. And then he took it off because it's kind of awkward.
What's happening on Tuesday is a vote for which party controls the U.S. House of Representatives. That is why it is so significant. And whichever party controls the House, it to a significant degree controls the country, which then steers the course of Western civilization. So it's like, I feel like this is one of those things that may not seem that it's going to affect the entire destiny of humanity, but I think it will.
And he's not exaggerating. The left is here to destroy the United States of America. And when the the left, the Soviet Union had their eyes on the U.S. generations ago, decades ago, because we, the United States of America, have long generations now, 80 years, the Pax Americana in 1945, based on the Pax Romana of thousands of years ago. The Roman peace. The American peace came at the end of World War II when we smashed the Socialist Workers' Party of Adolf Hitler and then held the Socialist Soviet Union at bay for generations, because totalitarianism is champing at the bit to take over the world. The Chinese plan on making the 21st century the Chinese century, just as the 20th century was the American century. The left is here to destroy the world, and it's not just the United States, because once we are taken down and they destroy capitalism, bankrupt us, $36 trillion in debt, you come in with the Department of Government Efficiency, and they would self-immolate and throw themselves in front of trains to stop government efficiency. Why is that? Well, see the Cloward and Piven strategy of destroying capitalism on planet Earth by bankrupting the United States, America. The totalitarians are on the march in the 21st century, and the Democrat Party is the lead rat among them. Isn't that amazing? That's a fact. Now, Brad Schimmel is the person to vote for in the state of Wisconsin for the Supreme Court of the state of Wisconsin. And here is the person to vote for, Brad Schimmel.
I don't control any of the spending from any outside group, whether it's Elon Musk or anyone else that has an organization spending money in this race. I've run a 72-county race in Wisconsin. I've campaigned in every county for 16 months. I'm not running for anything for Elon Musk or any other person.
Now, it should be noted that for the Democrat radical, more than 70% of her money has come from out of state. For Brad Schimmel, who you just heard there, 15% of his money has come from out of state. Now, why would all these millions of dollars, tens and tens of millions of dollars, pretty amazing stuff. Democrat mega donors, including George Soros, back Crawford. He's not on our side. George Soros is not on the side of the United States. And where did his ill-gotten fortune come from? From collapsing currencies and scamming. And now the liberals currently hold the 4-3 majority on the state Supreme Court. But a retirement this year puts the majority in play. Why do the Democrats care so much about this? Well, here's why. The radical, extremist, anti-Semite Hakeem Jeffries, Representative Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, Democrat from Looneyland. He's the Democrat leader in the House. He wants to be the Speaker of the House of Representatives so he can kill your children.
There are gerrymandered congressional lines right now in Wisconsin. Wisconsin's a 50-50 state, as I mentioned, but there are 6 Republicans and only 2 Democrats out of an 8-person delegation because the lines are broken.
Right.
And as soon as possible, we need to be able to revisit that and have fair lines. The only way for that to be even a significant possibility is if you have an enlightened Supreme Court.
That's the only way. See, it all goes to one seat on one state Supreme Court. And gerrymandering, see, the Democrats are currently and have been for quite some time in charge of the state Supreme Court, so they gerrymandered in favor of the Democrats. But it's 50-50, and he wants to steal the state. So these crooks, these criminals, these third world banana republic leftists will stop at nothing for one more seat on the Wisconsin State Supreme Court because the whole country, the Speaker of the House, control the House of Representatives, hinges on one seat in the Wisconsin State Supreme Court. And that's why George Soros, tens of millions of dollars, these people, boy, are they not on our side. And the fake media. Why is Elon Musk trying to buy Wisconsin State Supreme Court? Why is George Soros, communist terrorist, trying to buy a Wisconsin State Supreme Court seat? Yeah, the New York Times. Why Wisconsin Supreme Court election is all about Trump. It's because of your mental illness. That's why it's all about Trump. Speaking of which, the White House Correspondents' Dinner is an annual event in Washington, D.C., a black tie affair. I've been to maybe 15 of them or so myself. This year, the radical left-wing president of the radical left-wing White House Correspondents Association, they hired a comedian. That would be normal, to hire a comedian to do jokes at the White House Correspondents Association dinner, where the president normally attends. And they hired a woman. Now, the president of the White House Correspondents Association chooses the talent, the comedian for the dinner. The president of the White House Correspondents Association, is a man of color, an African-American man, who's also LGBTQ, although I don't think he's L. He might be B, but he's G, and I don't know if he's T. Oh, he is T. Actually, there are pictures of him online in dresses, dressed like a woman, and in dresses, sitting on sprawled out and having pictures of him, the president of the White House Correspondents Association, right? Pretty amazing stuff. But hired a woman named Amber Ruffin, who is a woman of color, and she recently became LGBTQ as well. So she came out as queer. Now, she did an interview with the Daily Beast. Now, she was picked by the president, Amber Ruffin. Not funny. I watched several of her videos on YouTube yesterday. Eugene Daniels, the president of the White House Correspondents Association, wrote an email Saturday afternoon, members saying that that the focus is not the politics of division, so they dropped Amber Ruffin. Now, as a gay black man, he can drop the gay black woman in the White House Correspondents Association. She is a frothy, rabid, anti-Trump extremist who's not even funny as a comedian. If she were funny, she'd be funny, but she's not. Amber Ruffin did an interview with the Daily Beast. Hey, you just got fired from your gig as the comedian at the White House Correspondents Association dinner.
Like, I'm not 100% interested in being like, ha, you're here, look at your stupid head, you're burned. I care, you're kind of a bunch of murderers. I mean, so, they were like, you need to be, equal and make sure that that you give it to both sides and blah, blah, blah. I was like, there's no way I'm going to be freaking doing that, dude. Under no circumstances.
There's no way she's going to be doing this. Under no, she was going to detonate her suicide vest at the podium and kill everyone around her and at the head table. The White House Correspondents Association is canceling comedian, alleged, use the word advisedly, Amber Ruffin, her planned headline performance for its annual dinner next month amid tensions between the White House Correspondents Association and President Donald Trump's administration. That's because you're radical left-wingers.
And they want that false equivalency that the media does. They want that. It feels great. It makes them feel like human beings. But They shouldn't get to feel that way because they're not.
See, they're not human beings. Typical Nazi rhetoric, typical fascist rhetoric. Self-righteous, smug, LGBTQ, WOC. Jake Tapper interviewed this woman on February 2nd, pretending she was funny.
So this is why Politico's Eugene Daniels, the current president of the White House Correspondents Association, said he picked you. Quote, Amber's unique talents are the ideal fit for this current political and cultural climate. She has the ability to walk the line between blistering commentary and humor, unquote. That is quite a challenge.
Now, this guy that he was just talking about, Eugene Daniels, president of White House Correspondents Association dinner, who chooses the comedian, he works for MSNBC. He used to work for Politico, not anymore. He's now moving over to MSNBC to host a show on MSNBC. Amber Ruffin actually has a role on CNN, as to Jake Tapper.
U.S. presidents traditionally attend this dinner. However, Donald Trump never went to it during his first term in office. Do you want him to be there this year?
No, don't nobody want to know. No one wants that. I mean, sure, it's something to do. Look, he should. He's missing out on one of the cool things about being the president of the United States, but I don't know that anyone's looking forward to being in the same room as him.
The Democrat Party, gang, and I mean, fine. But do you have any straight people anymore? I mean, there are a lot of straight people out there. You're going to have to develop some kind of, Ivy League university-style affirmative action program to hire a straight person every now and then. You people, you're all mentally, and I mentioned earlier, she's constantly giggling. She laughs at everything she says, yet nothing she says is funny. Amazing people. And Jake Tapper and the MSNBC guy, Daniels, who's the president of the association. This woman that practically nobody's ever heard of her unless you watch MSNBC for your comedy, which I sometimes do. And it's not intentional comedy. our Democrat Party. So NBC Fake News, which is a front group for the Democratic Party, of course, they apparently spoke on the phone to President Trump, glutton for punishment that he is. And during the course of the conversation, they asked him, well, are you going to stay on for a third term and become a fascist dictator so all the college professors have to leave the country? And now, that was on the phone, and NBC hasn't released the recording, and they've done their corrupt, quotation marks reporting on it. And President Trump on Air Force One talking to the corrupt idiot reporters again yesterday. And naturally, they hit him up with, hey, are you going to stay for a third term? Listen to it, because they're going bat guano about this, too.
You said you were not joking about a third term, about possibly wanting a third term. Does that mean you're not planning to leave office on January 20th? I'm not looking at that, but I'll tell you, I have had more people ask me to have a third term, which is, in a way, a fourth term, because the other election, the 2020 election, was totally rigged.
Now, the first thing he said, just for the record, is, I'm not thinking about that. You guys are spreading it. But NBC News headline 24 hours ago, Trump won't rule out seeking a third term in the White House. What did he just say? He said, well, I'm not thinking about that, and that doesn't matter. Trump on Air Force One.
I'm just telling you, I have had more people say, please run again. They said, we have a long way to go before we even think about that. But I've had a lot of people. Yeah, go ahead. Did you have something?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, do you think that's an appropriate precedent to set, even if it wasn't you in this position, to see a president serve a third term?
I don't want to talk about a third term now, because no matter how you look at it, we got a long time to go. We have a long time. We have almost 4 years to go.
I don't want to talk about a third term now, but the headline is, Trump is not joking about third term, though Constitution says he can't. And Trump tells NBC News, there are methods for seeking a third term. And one of the things people are talking about, well, J.D. Vance could run for president. He could run as his running mate as vice president. And then there'd be a big constitutional discussion. The media would call it a crisis, but it wouldn't be. Because you have to be eligible to become president in order to be the vice president, all right? Therefore, that would likely preclude the possibility of President Trump being the Veep running mate. But never mind that. The Democrats would rather firebomb your car and talk about it later.